Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and today I want to compare two Wenger Commanders. Now, the one on our left here is from the early 2000s, probably 2004, 2003, and the one on our right is from the early 1970s. I'd probably even guess about 1972. So that's a pretty big gap in between both of these, and really quick, I want to go through their differences. So first, we're going to start with the blades. The Wenger blade is very, very different from this one. I would probably say this one has a more spear point look and a little more belly to it compared to the older one. Now, not only is that different, but we also have a stronger, I would say stronger leaf spring in this one than we do in the newer one. You can hear that we have a more quiet or silent talk on that one than we do on this one. Even in the opening, there is a stronger spring there. And I just feel that that is, compared to Victorinox, this is still pretty weak compared to some of the Victorinox ones. But the newer one here, I just always felt Wenger had a weaker spring. Now, when it came to this blade here, this one has more of a belly. The older one is, I would say, more comparable to a modern day Victorinox. The Victorinox blades have about that same shape to the older Wenger. You can see there. Then the newer Wenger, which has more of a belly and more of a curve. This has more of a straight edge here. Now, when it came to the next tool we're going to look at, we actually have a pretty big difference. Now, Wenger introduced a patented design, which on their earlier models, let's say one from the 90s, it had a patent on it. And this is an interlocking or a locking screwdriver. So when you apply pressure onto the screwdriver, it compresses inward and then locks into place. On the older model, we had no such design. We just had the standard cap lifter. But I will say, even here, we have a stronger spring, stronger opening, better walk and talk. Just feels more solid. Whereas here it's a little quiet and the spring is not as good. Just not saying that the spring's poor, it just doesn't have as much tension. But the thing is we do not have the wire bender there either. Here, we do not have the wire bender. The tool itself, I even think, is a little thicker than the newer one. So there's some cost-cutting measures being done there, but it's also a little longer. Just a tad bit longer there. And then you can also see that I even believe the nail nick is even deeper on the older one than the newer one. So a few differences there. Let's close that up. The next tool is going to be the can opener, and this is probably the biggest difference. We now have the older Victorinox styled can opener on the newer one. Wenger ended up buying or getting the rights to Victorinox's older can opener style, and this is a style that's been around since, I'd probably say, the 1920s. It's the lobster claw style can opener, which is very effective. But on the older one, we have what they called a dog leg can opener. Now, this actually has an illustration right there on the can opener itself to show you how to use it. And it has a patent there. And this one you actually put into the can like so. Then you use this edge here to attach onto the lip, and you just crank upward this way. And this blade here then cuts the can open. Whereas on this one, you just press down and wrench forward. Or wrench backward, whichever one you want. So it is a little bit of a difference there. And also in the construction of it, being closed, it is different. Because, guess what? It's on the other side. It is going to be on the, I would probably say the keyring or the corkscrew side. So we have that there. Whereas on this one, it's going to be up top near the shield. So we have a little bit of a difference there also. And again, we just have a better spring and a more tension there. Now, the next one we're going to go towards is the corkscrew. We have a 5-turn corkscrew, which is fluted on the older one. And I actually believe it is smaller or tighter than the newer one. So we have a 4-turn here, no fluting. But you can see here that this is a little smaller and tighter. I actually prefer the newer one because it's a little bit bigger, gets a little bit of a better grip on the cork. But you can see that difference right there. Also near the base is a little bit of a thinner attachment. Don't know if it's thicker though, but it is definitely thicker. You can see how there is not as much material there. So there's that difference. Snaps are about the same. Then here we have the reamer on the old one. It has sharper edges, I'll just say that. Compared to the 2000 model or the 2003 or 4, I would even say the reamers are about the same, but you can see that the angle cut for piercing is a little bit lower on the older one compared to the newer one. So there is a difference there. Now, when it comes to the scales, we have a little bit of a difference also. So I'm going to open up all the tools here. And the attachment points for the newer one are actually on the pivots or the pinged rivets, and that's where that attaches. Whereas on the older one, the way it is attached is actually in the middle of the scales and on the pivots. So there's that difference there. Now, lastly, as I get all these closed, we are going to compare 2 more tools. We are now going to compare the nail files. Now, the nail files, I think, is where one of the biggest differences are. Here is the newer nail file, which we are all grown accustomed to. But the older nail file on the older Commander, I think, is something beautiful. We have a really beautiful cleaning tip there that has some swedges there. Beautiful finishing. And then we have this beautiful cross-hatched gridding there for taking out your fingernail. Very effective. And then we have them both compared. And surprisingly, both of the surfaces are about even. We have about the same area of material being shared for the nail file itself. And that is very interesting to see that they're practically almost the same. And almost the same in their construction. You can see there the stamping is very similar. And then, lastly, we have the toothpick and tweezers for the new one. Right here as I try and get those out for you. So there is the toothpick and tweezer for 2003 or 4, I believe. So I'll put those back. And they go inward like that. Whoops. I put that on the wrong side there. Here we go. And then for the toothpick on this side, if I can get it out, is a little different on the end there. and then the tweezers here are about the same. So that is the difference of the 1970s model versus the 2004 or 3 model. So I thought you guys would like those both being compared. So till the next one, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.